By now, we all know how insane corejj is, but he really had to show us once and for all and prove that he really is the GOAT by getting a literal 100% win rate going from Korean Grandmaster to Challenger. I don't think that statement has ever been true before, but here we are. So what is he doing that makes him that much better than other supports? And why can he consistently carry games on what many perceive to be the weakest carry role in the game? Today, we're going to be taking a look at his games on the Korean server and breaking down the genius that is corejj. But before we get into the guide, here's video of you trying to rank up without skill capped. Don't worry, we can fix that at skillcapped.com. Link in the description below. First, I wanted to show you all this Nautilus replay and focus on the thing that I think sets him apart. Core is creative and constantly comes up with new ways to shock his opponents. If we watch this clip, it looks like nothing more than a simple mistake by his opponents, but it's really so much more than that. Challenger players have seen a lot of things before. They aren't surprised by much. So the little details are what really make the difference in these kinds of spots. His understanding of matchups and his creativity is what enabled this play to work. At the start of the lane, we can see that he autos the wave once, just to feel out what the enemy lane will do. When he sees them fighting for the push, he really stops trying altogether. In this matchup, Karma and Ezreal just have much superior pushing ability to pretty much any melee, including Nautilus. So once he sees that they know to fight for it, he's just going to back off and save his HP. He's just weaving in and out to try and make his opponents waste cooldowns and mana. But other than that, this doesn't appear to be anything insane. Until you realize that he's not using his relic stacks at all. Something that most supports would do here, and we'll come back to that. As the wave is coming in, Ezreal and Karma feel very safe having a level 2 advantage, and are going to try and push that lead as much as they can, playing aggressively until Nautilus and Kalista hit level 2 as well. You can tell that he recognizes his window to go in as he hits the minion on pretty much the exact frame that he needs to execute it, and immediately looks for the fight. You've seen this before, so let's talk about why it works. By not using his relic stacks, he let the enemy minions build up and push too quickly. It actually is very detrimental in a lot of cases to crash on wave 2. There are a few reasons for this. One is the reason that you saw in the game. When Naut and Kalista hit level 2, look at where blue team's waves are. One is at the tower, and the reinforcement wave that they're waiting on isn't here yet. So neither one is helping them at all. This means that even though Nautilus got pushed in and technically should have to be fighting against a minion wave, they just don't. Core recognized a tiny window where the minion disadvantage wasn't a problem, and capitalized on it. Even if blue side hadn't gotten all in, there's another issue. The even minion rule states that 2 even waves will always push towards the side that it is currently not on. When you crash on the second wave, the third will start pushing towards you again. And now you're going to have to fight against the natural current of the wave if you want to push against it. Think about it kind of like trying to kayak upstream. Nautilus and Kalista can use this current of the wave and start building a slow push, crashing on wave 4 or 5. This nets them control of the lane again and gives them not only a good recall timer, but control over a river when Crab comes up, so they could move to contest the enemy jungler even if theirs isn't on bot side at all. When you crash on wave 2, you don't get this timer to help at Crab. It's too early, and you also can't buy anything meaningful in base. If you were to instead crash on wave 3, you would be able to not only base and buy with 350 plus gold, you could also contest the Crab, since the wave would be on the enemy side of the map and you would have priority. Okay, so all of this wave talk probably isn't that interesting, but it's important to understand so we know why Core let them push, when we normally talk about how important it is to contest for that. Let's look at some of his other creative moments and use this Renata game to showcase Core's insane matchup knowledge even more. They start off fighting for push, and in a double range lane, both teams are more than capable of getting level 2 first, so all bot laners are fighting here to try and get that level up. Unfortunately, because Thresh has relic stacks, they lose out on the close battle, and we catch corejj making the rare mistake. He gets hooked and level 2 all in. Well, actually, this is all a trap from the very beginning, and Core wanted to get hooked. He is much too good of a player to forget about a level 2 all-in, and purposely turned to get hooked here. Yet, it appears that he did just that. If we watch how the fight actually goes down, Samira gets a double kill for just 1 death, and now gets to get pushed on the wave, getting the game firmly in control of Corej's team. So how do I know that this wasn't a mistake and was completely intentional by him? If we think about this matchup, Samira excels in level 2 fights. With the ability to reset her E and stack Conquer, it really benefits us if things get super messy and go long. Core's incredibly aggressive trading and bush control at level 1 was all premeditated, and getting this huge chunk onto Thresh early is what let him know that he could go for such a crazy play. Even if the fight started in the worst way possible, he was aware that a messy fight is exactly what they needed to win, and baited his opponents into accepting it even though they just wouldn't come out on top. We can tell how intentional this was because he also ignited the second he was in range of Ezreal, discouraging him from healing early when it would benefit both him and Thresh. You can tell he was looking for this fight and knew what he was getting himself into just from how he played the lane, and he presented what looked like the freest kill in the world to the opponents, only to have it be well thought out bait the whole time. If we go back to look at the Nautilus game, you're going to see him find ways to shock his opponents again and again. He plays incredibly aggressively, fighting for bush control all the time, and the reason for this becomes very obvious when you see what happens next. He threw his hook in such a way that even if he misses it, or it gets dodged, he is still in a perfect position to get onto Ezreal. He didn't try to predict his movement at all. He buffers his auto attack immediately, which catches Ezreal even if he E's, and this leads to a kill that players would have missed had they overthought this situation or come from a different angle. It doesn't stop there. He camps a bush for a bit and even shows a few times, so the opponents definitely know he's in here. It doesn't really seem like any kill is possible right now, but just corejj things. He demats the cannon and hooks immediately as it dies, giving Karma almost no time to respond. I really don't think anyone would have thought to play around the enemy support dematting the minion they're standing behind, but you know, correct me if I'm wrong. The fact that I can still keep looking at just the lane phase of this one game and find more things that most people forget to play around is just telling of how good he is. You would think that he would want to go back to lane and just catch the huge wave crashing at his tower here, but not at all. He even hits Crab on the way to, well, gank his own lane. Because his mid laner has push here, he isn't scared of this fight. Even if it's a 2v3 for a bit, with backup coming, they play the fight slowly and turn a 2v3 into a 4v3, winning 3-0 and crushing this game completely. He resets early after this, which allows him to go to mid, and then seeing that Kha'Zix is on bot side, covers Syndra's only escape route, which is above her. It's these little details that let him secure all of these kills and have such a huge impact on the map. He's really just giving his opponents as little counterplay or a chance to react as possible. And just when you thought I was done, nope, he goes back bot, dodges all of the wards that he knows are in river right now, and hex flashes over the wall for yet another kill. Clearly this game is insane. It's not even 10 minutes in yet, and we have a ton of examples already. Let's pull up a different Nautilus game and look at some more ways that he completely defies expectations yet again. He sets up a bot gank for his jungler pretty early on into the game, and scores a kill, as well as the ability to crash the wave and take a reset. Most players here will probably recall and walk towards mid, hovering for a roam before eventually just going back bottom. But we already know that Core is just different. He actually goes towards top instead for an extra long roam, completely sacking the bot wave in the process. He walks super long, hex flashes over the Baron pit to dodge wards in the river, and simultaneously cuts off the only escape route that Diana and Garen would actually have here. The reasoning for this was actually pretty simple. Because he was basing at the same time as his jungler, and his jungler cleared down on the first clear, he knows that Rek'Sai wants to be in topside after her reset. His overall game understanding of not just his own role, but other roles as well, lets him know exactly where plays are going to be, and he just shows up to them. I don't think the enemy top jungle was really expecting to deal with the support showing up to this play, and again, it's that surprise factor that really sets him apart. There are obviously tons of aspects of corejj's play that we didn't cover, but I think it's clear to see that his creativity is definitely one of the things that separates him from other supports. His consistency in finding crazy plays and roams that work means that his impact is insanely high, and it's why he's able to achieve the insane feat of a 100% win rate climb from Grandmaster to Challenger in the hardest server in the world.
Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent Challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving.
Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.